The paper curled in the flame and smoke filled when someone pounded on my door.
Lisa, Ethan Lynn's voice. I pressed the ceramic basin over the burning marriage introduction letter and whispered, "Steady, breathe, don't let him in. What if this is the moment I lose my life again?" The scar on my scalp throbbed another life, a wall blackness. Then I had woken to a date stamp. September 12th, 1997. Last day the letter was valid. I struck the match without blinking. "You think I won't walk away?" I opened the door a crack. He stood tall, uniform crisp. "Let's register. Comrade Lynn," I said. "I won't marry you." Who taught me to speak that cleanly? My father. State security. A quiet man. When the river floods, he'd say, "Be still as water. Hide your cards. Strike when needed." I failed once. 10 years lost. Not again.
How fast does love rot when no one feeds it?
His family moved into my apartment, master bedroom to his parents, sunroom to Sophie, broom closet for me. They ate first. I got leftovers.
He wrote my supervisor accusing me of being unfilial. I was dismissed in a day.
What kind of sister steals a mother's keepsakes?
Sophie eyed my dowry jewelry, then took it. When I protested, they threatened divorce and denunciations. I wrote to Ethan for help.
He told me to hand everything over for family harmony.
My anger twisted my belly. The doctor ordered bed rest.
He never came.
Where does a woman find strength when no one shows up?
In the smallest heartbeat. I gave birth early, risked dying alone. The hospital called his unit. He told them, "All women give birth like this." I lived.
He took leave for Emily Zhao's birthday. Why did the world go black?
Outside Emily's window I heard him whisper, "Lisa is convenience. You are the wife I acknowledge." My knees failed. The wall came fast, darkness faster. So tell me what a second chance is for, if not to choose fire. I faced Ethan again. "Comrade Lynn, my father's decision was hasty. My heart is not yours." His smile cooled. "Are you sure?" "Positive." He stepped closer. I stepped back. "We aren't married. Keep the distance." What happens when you refuse the man who thought you were guaranteed? He tried reason, tenderness, futures, promotions, leave, a better life because of me.
"No," I said, and closed the door.
Through the window, I watched him walk away. Running isn't enough. Out Hink.
I went to my father's office.
He had finished handover, suitcase by the desk. "License?" he asked. "No," I said, and never. He listened, long and silent. Then he sighed. "A shrimp can be good," he said, "but a young eagle will starve on shrimp. How do you pick yourself? Not the fantasy. Help me find work, not a husband," I told him.
"If I stand,
you can go serve without worry." He nodded.
"Uncle Ming will place you," he said.
"There's a mentor. Learn fast. Keep records. Don't indulge Lynn's temper." The first night I chose myself, bar the door and pack.
At midnight, someone stole the half-burned letter. I didn't call the police. Scandal eats the woman first here.
I documented it anyway. Date, time, ash marks, a photo. I slept with a kitchen knife and woke to a knock at dawn.
"Who stands on the threshold when you expect a wolf?"
"I'm Ming Zhao," the man said. Tall, controlled.
"Uncle Shang asked me to take you to the dorm tonight.
Trust is earned."
My father had said his name.
I opened the door.
"How does safety taste after a famine?"
"Like hot broth." We ate beef noodles. I paid. He let me. When we stepped out, Sophie's voice sliced the night. "Sister-in-law." Ethan stood at her shoulder, flowers in hand, eyes fixed on me. "Want to see panic? Tell him he has no power." "Don't call me sister-in-law," I said. "I'm not marrying your brother." Ethan blocked our way. "Because of him?" he asked. Chin at Ming. "Yes," I said before fear could rearrange the truth. "I admire gentlemen. Comrade Ming is one."
"What happens when a bully tries to slap you in public?"
Sophie lunged. Ming caught her wrist, eyes warning, voice level. "Comrade, it's wrong to hit people." She shrank. I faced Ethan. "Break into my home again and I'll file a report," he blurted. "I didn't go to your house," then swallowed the lie he had revealed.
"How do you turn a corner?"
"You right." That night I filed a statement with compound security about the intrusion and harassment, attached notes and a photo, and copied my future department. Paper makes memory. It draws lines.
Men think don't exist for women. Can a rumor drown under a boundary?
He sent roses to my office with a note about misunderstanding. I returned them with a receipt.
He registered a dating report with his unit to force proximity. I submitted a signed notice declining contact and rescinding consent to marry. I CC'd his political officer and mine. Where does the first real breath land? In a small dorm with a clean pillow and a door that locks. At 8 the next morning, Ming handed me an orientation packet.
"Intern under me," he said.
"Earn conversion." His tone was strict. His eyes gave me room to stand in. How does a man help without centering himself?
"With one phone call. Political office," he said in the corridor.
"This is Ming. Please review leave compliance for Sergeant Lin." His voice stayed low. By evening, Ethan was ordered back to base for review. What does relief sound like now?
The click of a latch. The silence after.
I exhaled for the first time in years.
Then came a new knock. Ethan's mother stood with a tin of sweet and sour pork, smile sharp and thin.
"For you,
daughter-in-law." "I'm not," I said, and handed it back.
"Send it to Emily Zhao."
The smile fell off her face like a drop plate.
Want to see how a whole neighborhood splits overnight? Watch a mother see her son's prospects slipping.
Ethan's mother marched to Emily Zhao's factory with a tin of pork and a mouthful of fire, accusing Emily of seducing a soldier.
Management opened a quiet inquiry.
Not rumor records, phone logs,
a supervisor's schedule. By week's end, the findings landed like a gavel. Emily had been seeing a married deputy director. She was terminated for misconduct.
And suddenly, the sweet and sour tin was just vinegar and noise.
What do you call air that tastes like freedom? The day Emily cleared out her locker, I finished my first case memo under Ming Zhao's mentorship.
No hand-holding. Facts then conclusions, he said, eyes steady.
I tightened my sentences until they clicked.
At dusk he passed my desk, pausing just long enough to say, "Good," praise, one word long, but it rang through me like a bell.
I slept without the knife for the first time since the stolen letter. How does a man react when his usual levers snap in his hands? Ethan turned up outside my building with Emily by his side and lilies clenched like a white flag.
He talked about misunderstandings, about oaths and duty. Emily's voice trembled, the practiced kind. He treats me like a sister. I let the silence stretch until truth grew uncomfortable. "I don't love you," I told Ethan.
I rescinded consent in writing.
"If you persist, security has my statement." The lilies drooped. His jaw set.
Want to know what desperation tries next?
Procedure. He resubmitted a marriage application using the charred letter he had taken. The political office called me in, calm and formal. I slid my file across the desk. Time-stamped photo of the ash ring, my initial statement, a notarized rescission. The officer frowned at Ethan's file discrepancies and leave dates, a gap in the chain of custody for the letter. The reprimand wasn't dramatic, but it was permanent. Paper, after all, doesn't forget.
Where does resolve lead a man with something to prove?
The front line. Ethan volunteered for a high-risk operation. He got what he wanted and what he didn't, a commendation and then an explosion.
Shrapnel took his right calf and tore nerves in his left arm. I heard it third hand, then from the unit bulletin.
I didn't gloat.
I sat on a bench outside and let air move through me. Compassion doesn't require reunion. Closure doesn't require prayer. How do feelings slip in when you're busy standing?
Quietly, Sophie began orbiting Ming's building, hair curled, voice pitched. She brought flowers and theater. Ming returned with restraint and distance. Eventually, he tugged my sleeve, voice wry.
"Do me a kindness, pretend to be my girlfriend."
"It'll end this." I agreed with a laugh I didn't feel. Downstairs, in front of her bouquet and a ring of curious faces, I took his arm. "He's with me," I said. The crowd hummed. Sophie flushed, then spat. "Liar. Want to hear how rumors end themselves?"
With a single unguarded moment.
Someone teased, "Ming, did she win you with those eyes or the way she buys your bicycle?" And he choked. "Underwear?" The courtyard burst. I hid my face. Ming groaned, smiling despite himself. That night my father phoned from a field line, voice stern over static.
"The Shang family shoulders responsibility.
If you've jeopardized his reputation, you marry him." I sputtered. He hung up.
"Phone charges," he'd always say.
"Don't waste public minutes." What's the difference between panic and certainty? One breath. Ming walked into my office the next morning, formal as a tribunal and oddly soft. "I'm not a bad option." A pause. "I would protect you." I listened. "I want a partner." He didn't promise rescue. He offered respect. I thought about a broom closet bedroom and cold congee, about sweet and sour traps and ash rings. Engagement, I said, testing the word like a bridge plank. His reply was immediate. Marriage, September. My mother already checked dates, approved. How do you hold joy when the past still echoes? Gently, with both hands. We married in a short ceremony that smelled like new paint and steamed buns. My father couldn't return, but his call was a ribbon around the day. The Ming family was warm without being cloying. They gave us a small apartment to intersections from work. On weekends, we ate with his parents, and I learned the way his mother salted soup and the way his father saved the last orange for her. Safety looked like light on a kitchen tile. Want the twist you don't see coming because you stopped looking back? I saw Ethan and Emily at the Civil Affairs Bureau, papers between them like an autopsy. Emily's gaze was a razor. Later, someone said she'd found another man and a quick future. Then, ugliest of all, she returned, belly rounded, to taunt the Lins. Rage makes fools. They restrained her in their living room, tried to force her into compliance. A neighbor called the police at the sound of her screams. The pregnancy didn't survive. The law did. How does justice sound when it finally speaks? Not like cheering, like paperwork and charges. The Lin parents were arrested for assault and unlawful restraint. There were hospital charts and interviews. There were consequences. Sophie disappeared from the gossip circuit, quietly cutting TIs to avoid the drag of scandal. Ethan lay in a dim apartment, his commendation folded in a drawer, the neighborhood suddenly unwilling to say hello. He wrote me a letter he didn't send, then came once in a wheelchair to hand out wedding candy and ask me why. Want the truth without poetry? Because I saw the end, I told him. Because you stood aside when I needed you, and you reached for me only when I was useful. Because my life is mine. His eyes went glassy. He left clumsily, dignity like a coat too big for his frame. A week later, the corridor smelled wrong. The police opened his door. Sleeping pills, they said. No note. The compound went quiet for a day and then remembered the price of noodles again. Life relentless. What does healing feel like when it finally arrives? Specific. My son took 3 wobbly steps toward me across our living room, and I cried onto Ming's shoulder. On a late shift, I caught my reflection in the office window, tired, yes, but owned by no one. On a rainy Saturday, we ate braised pork knuckle at a stall where the broth knew our names. Sometimes I thought of ash rings and lilies and a uniforms press. Mostly I thought of how still water can carry a woman farther than any flood of empty promises. Where does the story end if the beginning was a fire? Exactly here, my hand wrapped around my son's, Ming's palm warm at my spine, my father's voice reaching across a crackling line to say, proud. I didn't erase betrayal. I outgrew it. I didn't pray for justice. I filed it, and I lived it. Ethan, Emily, Sophie, the Lin family each met the weight of their own choices and sank or swam. I chose different. I chose me. And for the first time into lives, that was enough.